Welcome back to the channel. It's been just over a month since I had the pleasure of performing Xylophonia with the Northwest Wind Symphony. Life's been busy, but in a good way, productive, focused, full of growth. This video includes the full performance, but stick around because at the end, I'll share a powerful lesson I learned that day, one that completely changed how I view performance, preparation, and purpose. But first, here it is, the full performance of Xylophonia with the Northwest Wind Symphony. That performance came out so much better than I expected. But let me take you back to what happened that morning. Here's how the Northwest Wind Symphony works. Everyone receives their music about a month in advance. But because I knew I'd be the soloist a full year ahead, I had my piece, Xylophonia, picked out for about 9 months, and I worked on it the entire time. I practiced hard. I used every technique I knew, and even discovered some new ones along the way. I had the piece memorized. I knew it backwards and forwards. I could have written it out by hand. I even got it up to a tempo I really liked. There was no doubt in my mind, I knew the piece. But here's where things started to unravel. Problem number 1. I knew the piece. Privately. When I played it alone, no problem. But the second a camera turned on, or someone besides my family was watching, my mind started to feel scattered. Like I suddenly couldn't hold on to what I already knew. So solution number 1, I began recording myself more regularly. I played in front of everyone who happened to visit the house. It helped, kind of, but in hindsight, I think I started that a little too late. Problem number 2, I didn't have live accompaniment. All I had was Sibelius, after manually entering all the parts, or YouTube recordings to play along with. So solution number 2, there wasn't one. I had to wait for the actual rehearsal on the day of the performance. We only get one rehearsal day. Each piece gets played twice, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. When Xylophonia came up in the morning rehearsal, I stepped up and froze. My hands were shaking. Everything sounded different than I expected. I struggled to get through a full phrase. It felt like when I struck a note, I was hitting the bar next to it by mistake. It was rough. Somehow, we made it to the end of the piece. And despite how I felt, the band was incredibly gracious. They congratulated me, reassured me, said it sounded great. The director even came over and was asking if I wanted to adjust the tempo. Everyone was encouraging. But I was embarrassed. Crushed, honestly. I went back to my section. I quietly tried not to cry for the rest of the morning. Then came lunch. I got my food, sat down, and I realized I needed help. So I prayed. In those 30 minutes of quiet prayer, I found peace. Things that I've learned in my time as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is the Holy Ghost. His job is to testify of truth. But he doesn't just testify of truth, he brings truth to our remembrance. And I remembered. God was with me. The joy I felt after that prayer was indescribable. It was like everything that had just felt overwhelming just melted away. So when Xylophonia came up again in the afternoon rehearsal, I was a different person. The Holy Ghost had done its job. I had felt the comfort that comes only through the Holy Ghost. And the remembrance that comes through that same gift. My hands knew exactly what to do. The performance was solid. Perfect even. In that moment, I realized I couldn't have performed that piece without God's help. All the practice mattered. But it was only when I let go of the fear and trusted both him and the preparation that everything finally came together. And the concert? It was an absolute blast. God knew exactly what I needed that day. And even though he could have just given it to me, I needed to learn what I was missing. Had I not failed in the morning, the success that night wouldn't have meant nearly as much. Sometimes, getting back to the basics doesn't just mean practicing scales or drills. Sometimes it means taking a look at who we are. It means choosing to become the best version of ourselves, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Remember, always strive to be your best self, practice with purpose, live with passion, and above all, get out there and be awesome.